Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
I was just watching one of your videos.
Oh, thank you. Which one?
I'm not a pervert. Strangers and friends. I just saw it and I was like, oh, I was going through. I watched multiple videos before that.
That's okay. It's supposed you're supposed to watch it. That's why we put it up.
Okay, just make it's just weird that you come on and right as I'm actually away.
Right. It is weird that I come on during when you're watching us. To me, it sounds like research. So
And then I'll put that video, clip that video in this area right here.
11 seconds or
yeah. Okay.
How are you?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I'm having a good day today.
Where you at?
I'm at KXP where I work.
Oh, shit. You work for radio?
I film bands
Mhm.
at the station, so we have like a YouTube channel and everything, and then and we'll film the bands that come through town that the DJs pick to have on the live on air, and I'm basically a video producer here, so that's what I do. I'm
Hell yeah.
behind this. Yeah,
Good. That's awesome. That seems very interesting and very exciting,
it is. Yeah, if I think it's just like I love live music so much that if I'm not playing it or watching it, I just want to be around it all the time. So it made complete sense to do this job.
Yeah. I worked for a radio company or radio station out of Santa Barbara. I'm in California. And that's, man, that's a tough job. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, they had me coming in early in the morning and everything that we did, they just wanted to say something about, like, don't do this, don't do that, do this. And like, oh, I get it. Like, they're putting us on, but it was too much for me. So
Yeah.
I walked away from
Yeah.
that.
I like the work culture at KXP. Definitely it's gotten like it's evolved over the years, and they've even made public statements about their policy changes and everything. And but I think there's you could find fault with anything, and you could everything needs work, and it's good to be conscious of your blind spots as an organization. At the same time, I think that whenever a blind spot is pointed out to them, they usually meet that. And
Justin, you have call line one. Justin, line one.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Go ahead.
No, that's not me. I'm not Justin. I'm Tim.
Are you? No. Okay. All right. I couldn't understand the name.
Okay.
It was like background audio, just in general. It's some announcement. But yeah, it's a really cool spot to work. And I don't know. I love my job a lot.
That's good, man. That's what we have to strive for, do something we love, because when you do something you love, you're not really working.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and also I think you tend to do it well. My dad always told me, like, do what you love and everything else will follow, because if you're not doing something that you love, you're probably not going to do it well, and people probably aren't going to want to work with you.
Yeah, I feel you. All right, well, we're here to celebrate the band Leches. You have a single out, Fireworks.
Oh yeah.
And I love your sound. Like, it is, when I was growing up, we had a lot of Spanish rock in my area. I live in Oxnard. Oxnard's a heavily Hispanic area, over 80%. And like, I remember, just hearing like Juarez or there's a bunch of like Spanish, and you have that sort of Spanish rock feel, but also, man, it's just very unique, your sound, and I love it. It is something that, just listening to really brings me back to my childhood. And I had to talk to you. I had to get in your head and see what you guys are about. And so we're here.
Well, thank you very much. That means a lot. I'm so happy that you had that deep connection with our sound, and that it did that for you, bringing you back to your childhood. That's incredible.
Well, let's start with Tres Leches. We all know it's a great dessert.
Mhm.
How did we choose that name?
I mean, yeah, I like to eat. So that's kind of where it came from. You know, what it ended up being is like not just like the admiration for the tasty cake, but just kind of like I think it kind of like started representing kind of like different layers that you can put into something. And also what it ended up really being is we we did draw a lot of Latinos to our shows. And what we found is there's kind of like different versions of that throughout Latin America. And it kind of was like a unifier to bring people to our shows, because we play up here in the Northwest, where there's not as many.
I know. When I initially heard you guys and saw you guys, I was like, they have to be down the road. Like, 'cause I'm in Oxnard, Ventura. You guys gotta be 45 minutes south, but you're
Yeah.
in Seattle, right?
Yeah, so Ulysses is from Mexico City originally, and then moved here when he was a teenager, and has lived in the Northwest, grow up in the Northwest since then. And I was born in the Northwest. My entire family is pretty much based in New York, and my mom's Puerto Rican Filipino, and my dad's Italian. But I really came to admire bands like from Latin America, because well, one, we have it's like on the fence right now, but there's this great festival called Bumbershoot in Seattle, and I got to see a lot of great rock bands that sing in Spanish, well, and also Portuguese. Os Mutantes came to play Bumbershoot, and that was amazing. And you know, my dad was really had a really great taste in music, and exposed me to a lot of that music. And then I was there one year looking at gonna go see Davila 666, which was AJ Davila's band at the time. And the day before I went to see them, Ulysses and I met at that festival. And we bonded over, I'd known like kind of like Zordak and Porter and those kinds of bands. And we kind of bonded over our love for rock from all over different parts of Latin America. And he showed me some stuff I never would have known about. And I kind of was like, I want to check out Os Mutantes, and then we kind of became friends from there, and started forming the band. And yeah, that's kind of like us. And then like there's Terror Cactus, which is another great band up here. And then there's like a lot that's spread out over there's Biblioteca too, and then there's like a lot of bands that are kind of spread out between here and like Portland, like Orquestra Pacifico Tropical. And then like, yes, you go south and you get further south, you get more, but it thins out as you come up to the Northwest.
I can imagine. So how was your home life like? Was English the number one language in the home?
Yeah.
Because I would
Yeah.
imagine, but
Yeah.
also like you said, Filipino and Dominican and
Puerto Rican.
Puerto
Yeah.
Rican, and that language can be very similar, correct?
Yeah.
Tagalog
Yeah.
and Spanish.
Right.
Very similar.
Yeah. Because of the occupations in the Philippines, there's a lot of Spanish language that got transferred over in the Philippines too. But no, my mom and dad, unfortunately, I think they kind of didn't get to learn any of those languages, because what they kind of always told me was that unfortunately their parents wanted them to assimilate. Unfortunately, there's kind of that fear growing up in New York during those times, that it's like kind of like they want their kids to assimilate so they don't draw that kind of attention to themselves. Which
that's what my grandfather used to tell me is he couldn't talk Italian in front, because my family's from back east as well in New York.
Okay.
My grandfather came here from Sicily, and they were real up until they started getting higher up in the mob. They would always tell everyone, you don't let people know that you speak Italian. Let them think that you're American.
Yep.
Because when you do that, they're not going to have no preconceived notions on what you can or can't do.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, they always said like we would have loved to know it, but unfortunately that was the reality that they grew up in. I really wanted to know it. I really wanted to know you know, Italian and Spanish, and I worked on Italian for a little bit and got good at it for a little bit and then completely lost it because there's not really any Italians to talk to over here. And then I worked on Spanish for a little bit. You know, I started learning Spanish playing video games online, like playing Left 4 Dead. And that's actually kind of how I started finding out about bands like Zordoc and Porteros, is playing with some friends online and speaking Spanish with them. So it was a lot of like, "Tras de ti, I'm a zombie," you know, for the first few sentences, which was somehow more useful than some of the, you know, some of the nonsense phrases that they'll teach you in the Spanish classes
we all know those
in school. So
mochila.
So yeah, that's, you know, my parents were just really cool, you know, amazing people. They taught me, you know, everything I know about music. My dad, like, I love telling this story about how my dad, one time he was trying to introduce me to Public Image Limited, and he was like, check out this guy. And I was just like, Dad, he's like, his voice is so weird. I don't know. And he was like, oh yeah, I'm going to be really disappointed in you if you don't come to this concert. And I was like, I don't want to go. And he was like, no, come on, Alia. Fine. I'm leaving. And then he left to go to the bus stop. And then I finally like ran out and caught the bus with him to the concert, like last minute. But I think that's so opposite of what some people get to experience. My kid listening to that type of music. So I think you know, my parents were really cool in exposing me to all different types of music. And they got to see so much, you know, in New York. Like they got to see like the Velvet Underground, and they went to CBGB's a lot and Mud Club, and they got to see so many international bands like the Clash that came through there too. And yeah, and that's my experience. And you know, Ulysses, he's talked about his dad bringing him to shows as well when he was younger. And he's, you know, he's very close with his parents, and they all speak Spanish at home. Obviously, that was there because they're all from Mexico City. Yeah.
So how do you say your name, and where does the origin come from?
My name is Alia D'Alessandro. The last name is my dad's last name, D'Alessandro, which means of Alexander. And the first name is really cool because it's, my mom read it in a book called Dune, which is now like, I feel like it's getting like super popular culture because of the movies, which is, it's kind of cool. So Dune, like Alia was the main character's sister, which doesn't appear in the film yet, other than like the premonition that Paul has of his baby sister. That's Alia. And like later on, she comes in and she like lays down the law for a lot of stuff. I won't say spoilers, but she does.
Well, that seems exciting. I haven't seen Dune yet, but is definitely on my list. It's just, I've been so busy, and I end up getting into Peacemaker, and I fucking love that. And I just binge that one. And then there's so many great things out Pam and Tommy. I just haven't got around to Dune, but I will get there. And I thought it was a nice, pretty name. I liked it.
Thank you.
So I want to get to the single Fireworks. From my interpretation of it, it's not even an interpretation. I think you say in there, don't trust the media, or there's something about the media in it. Boom, it caught my eye. Is this directed at the media?
Yeah, it's that's definitely a part yeah, it's a part of it. It's kind of about like however you ingest this kind of, you know, like archaic battle over resources, and it could, I think a lot of us do that through media. And you know, there's a lot of different ways that it comes up in life. I think bullying is another way, you know, and it's always prevalent. But it's kind of like, however, like you start ingesting that kind of age-old tactic of like divide and conquer, trying to kind of resist that singular thinking and figuring out different ways of going about life that we could work together and find more sustainable ways of living.
In my head, I mean, ever since, the 2020, I've felt that the media has been weaponized. I mean, I mean, I'm even getting anxiety thinking about like another election coming in 2024, because it feels like we are the weapons for other people to get paid, for other people to keep their jobs, and they pit us against each other. And that's something I thought I took away from the song, and it fears me. It's another fear. And like, are we ever going to see past that collectively together, not
I think
separate?
I think it's a good thing to fear. I think that's a good thing to be afraid of, because I think it's very real fear and a very real, if there's any real threat to anybody who's not a millionaire or billionaire,
Yeah.
I think that would be it, is that there is that, like, divide and conquer is so effective, you know, and it's used throughout history. You know, you could see like when there was, you know, this terrible thing of slavery, when there was white indentured slaves and the slaves that the enslaved people that were brought over from Africa, there was going to be these rebellions against the slave masters. And the slave masters basically said, okay, white indentured slaves, we're going to put a end date to your servitude, and you're going to get a you know, some gold and a plot of land and some animals for your land. And you know, it's like, oh, okay, all right, so we got a little bit of something, so we got ours, so we're gonna just kind of go with that, when it's like, actually, like, that's, you know, it seems it's a great tactic, right? Like you gave somebody something like that seems a little bit better, and they'll settle for that, when it's like they outnumbered the slave masters. They can go, and they could have gone and changed everything and got their freedom for all of those people.
Mhm.
But they, you know, it's and I think that's such a smart tactic, and but also kind of a very maybe primitive tactic as well, to use resources in that way, you know. And that's really what I see it as, is like, it's this like that's what we come from as just entities on this earth, is like we have we've come from a place where we're meant, like, you know, the big fish eats the little fish, you know. And that's literally, like, who knows why that is, but that's how it is, you know. We can all agree, like, that's what happened. That's the
Mhm.
world we exist under. And I think
100%.
compassion is a very new thing that's come through evolution. That's just, and it's like just in the past maybe a few thousands of years that we're seeing it. It's a new tool that we can use. So that's where I kind of put my bet and I place my hope, is that hopefully we'll be able to use this tool of compassion and love, which seems like such a opposite of what we have in this type of world, this type of in our existence. So if it was just, I think we'd find a better way forward. So
It makes me, like you said, like hopeful, but it also there's so many people, like it feels like it's out of our hands because they're gonna, I think that the only, I don't even know, like I'm just so, like, I feel hopeless because I know people. I don't have a political like a hill to die on. My only, the only wants and needs I have is for the people in my community and for us as Americans. That's it. I don't care if you're right or left. And it feels like they paint us into this, like they paint us into a corner, say, well, you got to pick this side or that side, and everybody wants to jump on that instead of using your tool, the tool of compassion. And I think that's a fear of mine. I don't know how to explain it. I mean, the media is supposed to be someone that is our friend, but it seems very much a tool that is used in place of compassion to make you believe one or the other.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. I think also it wants you to believe exactly what you said, that we are all against each other. And I think my experience, whether it's anecdotal or not, the truth that I've found is that when traveling, a lot of the people that we're supposed to be afraid of, especially as Latinos, like when we're going through rural towns, they are the most welcoming people.
And I agree with you because I mean, when I travel a lot, and I don't, although I get worried about it, I don't experience it. Not like the 90s. Like in the 90s, I experienced that a lot. I was just, and people couldn't tell, like, oh, well, is this guy Mexican or is he Asian or is he, they didn't know. And so it was, I got a lot of, racism thrown at me. But like you said, a lot of people are very welcoming. And I think, and maybe the media builds that up a little more than it really is, because a lot of people don't go out.
Yeah, I mean, isn't it nice to be able to control people, and especially like where they go or where they feel like they're able to go, and the more control you have over people, the easier that they are to manipulate. I think that fearing others based on a category is a pretty limiting way to exist and go about things. But I think I'd rather fear losing the opportunity to make a friend or learn something new from somebody or build connections with people, or not know, just like I fear not knowing more than anything. So I'd rather go out and see for myself what's going on out there. And while yes, I completely know, and we've had our run-ins with racism as well, and those are completely valid experiences, and they do exist. It's not to say that they don't exist at all. Of course they do. It's not about, those experiences have been much less about category, and they just don't match up in terms of what our entire experience has been traveling and meeting people. We can find agreements with people that maybe they have a different political idea than us, but we generally agree on how the way that people should be treated. And while somebody might vote for the same person that I did the last election, they might like have a completely different view of how like how like I like for me, like I think, for example, like that everybody deserves a right for to housing. I think that's very important to me. And there's people that like maybe we voted for the same person the last election, but they like completely disagree on that with me, and it's like you can't it's just impossible. Like human beings are so complex. And it really just comes down to like how we treat each other, how we listen to each other, what can we learn from each other. And it's much easier. Like how scary would that be if we all did that? For like, how scary would that be to like people who benefit from the way things are right now? How scary would it be if we all started talking with each other and finding that we have more in common with each other than we don't?
Yeah.
That would be very scary for them. It would be very scary. And especially if we use that power to like band together, even just to do something as simple as like as voting. If we all agreed on like the way things that the way that we wanted to vote, if we agreed that like, oh, there's, the system doesn't benefit us as voters, how do we make it benefit us as voters? Like those are honestly, those are things that they should be afraid of, but we shouldn't be afraid of that. It's in our interests to find commonality with each other. It's in our interests to have compassion for each other where we can.
Yeah. And I 100% agree. And it feels like a weight off my chest to talk to somebody that doesn't want to argue, no, you need to vote for this person because this person's the man, or no, you need to vote Biden, or you need to vote Trump. No, I don't want that. I want us. That's what I don't want somebody that benefits from my vote.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, people that I think our system is set up for a continued anger, continued hate, continued frustration, not somebody who would come in there and really, I have lost faith that there's going to be somebody who can come in and save the day, because no one's saving anything but their pocketbook, in my opinion.
And I think that's, that is great for them that you've lost your faith. I think that's an excellent tool for them, that like if somebody doesn't even want to put up a fight or doesn't want to keep, like looking for what else could there be, it makes it super easy for them. And I think that's exactly kind of what fireworks is about, that's like why we use like Ulysses and me, like double voice going back and forth, because, like I'll like the first part is like, I'll say like, I got last straw given the short stick. I guess I should have listened when they said to be quick. I'm a sitting duck with all of my eggs in a basket, when that's like the feeling of like, what, it's all a loss. I'm just going to look out for myself, and that's where that singularity comes in, and that's where those categories set in, and then Ulysses comes in with the other, the other side of it of like, like just turn off, whatever's making you feel like that, before it makes you sick, and because that's the that they're championing bad habits, and so that's kind of what, I'm not going to go through all the lyrics, but, and then the next line and the next.
But I also understand that, because like that right there, by us not turning it off, by us feeding into it, I've lost so many friends, and not because of we see differently. No. I think generally right and left are seen the same. They want what's best for people. They want people to be taken care of. And I think there's a small number who are doing things for financial gain, not of the general population, but more of, let's do things for all of us and let's take care of all of us. And I think that's what we need to get back to, the value of human life. And I know what you mean. Everyone deserves places to put their head down at night. Everyone deserves to have food. Everyone deserves to be taken care of. Like basic human rights, I think, are something that, and maybe we need to go back to the drawing board with all of this. Like, what is right and what is wrong again? Because there's a time I feel that we're losing it.
I was just saying that I think that what you said, like the value of human life, you know, that's a great thing to pinpoint, you know. And I would say, like, I understand the feeling of defeat. Like I'm not going to say I haven't felt it, you know. That's why I put those lyrics in that song, because I have felt it. For me, I think it's better to go out with the bang, you know, than to because I know if we didn't put up a fight for compassion and for each other, that the you know, it's already over. But I'd rather go out with a bang, you know, and see what beauty's there, even if the battle was to be lost. And I don't know that it has to be a loss, you know, but whatever it is, I wanted to go out with a bang. And that's why we call the song Fireworks. And that's the end to it, is that, like, you know, whatever it is, whatever comes, like, that's what we have in mind, is those fireworks.
You have a beautiful mind. I
Thank
want to
you
say
so
thank
much.
you so much. Thank you for sharing. Like, you've made a difference in my life today, and you're the
Oh
best
my
part of
God,
my
thank
day
you.
today.
Thank you.
I don't feel half as crazy. I don't feel half as alone, you know, and because it feels like everyone I talk to, I have to pick a side of right or left, and
Yeah.
especially when it comes to this situation. And I'm over that. I'm fucking so over it. And
Yeah.
so thank you for letting me know that I don't have to pick. I
Yeah,
can just
no,
value
you're
human
definitely
beings.
not alone with that. You know, you're not the only one who feels that way. And I think it's, you know, this has been a great interview for me too. And I
Besides the
thoroughly
fucking
enjoyed it.
internet.
Yeah, well, you know, thank you so much. And it was excellent to connect with you as well. It meant a lot to me to connect with you.
Okay, well, I have like three pretty cool questions. They're not
Sure.
like about anything, but just
All
you.
right.
And let's see if we can get through it before the internet fucks with us again. Okay.
All right.
All right. If you no, what's your mom or dad's or mom and dad's signature dish?
Signature dish. Okay, my dad's signature dish is, well, I don't know if it's a signature. Okay, there's two things. Okay, so he makes like a really amazing just red sauce pasta, which is like so amazing because it's so simple and but it's the best thing in the world. But he also, like, once in a while makes this thing called tortellini e brodo, which is this like tortellinis in this like broth, and that shit that oh, I don't know if I can say that
Yeah.
stuff takes, yeah, okay, that shit takes like 2 days to make, and you gotta like brown the chicken or the turkey breast, and then you gotta like cut up the prosciutto and like the pancetta and the like 4 different types of cheeses, and you roll the pasta, and it is like my favorite thing in the world. And my mom is also amazing, is an amazing cook, and she makes a really good beef and broccoli.
That's good. I heard it.
Okay, good. Yeah, I was like,
Beef
I'm
and
not sure.
broccoli.
I'm just gonna pause until like
All right. What are you streaming right now? Movie wise, video wise.
I just watched Jojo Rabbit.
Is it good?
It's really good.
I'm like hesitant to watch it.
It's really good. What?
It is. I've been hesitant to watch it.
It's really good. It's really endearing. There's a lot of, you know, it's obviously the subject matter, it's going to be heavy. But I love the thing of, you know, I'm a kind of person where it's like, if you're not laughing, you're crying. So it's definitely like, I love dark humor, and it does a great job at that. The scenery is amazing. The outfits are I forget the technical term for like a designer, but like the outfits in the movie are really amazing. And then the kid actors are so talented with their range of emotions. It was a really good movie to watch.
Awesome. Okay. And then this won't be my last question. And before I even get to it, thank you. Thank you again. Your art is amazing.
Thank
Keep
you.
on doing your shit, because you guys are onto something, and it's fucking beautiful. Okay.
Thank
All right.
you.
Walk into a room, and when you walk in there, it's everyone you've ever met in your entire life, alive or dead. Who are you looking for and why?
Mm, I'm gonna say David Byrne because I had the privilege of meeting him, but it was swift. You know, we met him I got to meet him at the station when he came through, and I got to take a picture with him. And he's just an amazing artist that has so many like, you know, he has that whole book about how music works, and I've watched so many of his videos that I would love to have a conversation and and talk more with him and just get to, you know, hopefully just learn something, have anything from him pass on to me. And also because he had like one of the best smiles I've ever seen, and he seems like a really happy person. So that's somebody that I would want to learn from.
That's awesome. Well, I hope we can do this again, because I think that we're onto something, and I would love to dig deeper inside of the way you think, and like also share ideas with you, and maybe another interview. Or I linked up with you. I wrote you an email or a message on IG through Leches, and I just thank you guys. Thank you so much for your time, and good luck with everything.
Thank you so much for reaching out to us. Thanks for having us. It was a complete pleasure, and we hope to do it again.
All right, have a good one.
All right, bye.
Bye bye.